welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Proud to be here with you up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe inside these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We are, of course, on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both / WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for being with us. As I said, Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We have some amazing things coming up here on today's broadcast. And as you can see, I'm wearing my Binghamton B very proudly because we are stepping into year 3 of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University and your Bearcats. And I can't believe that we're already 2 years in. We've told amazing stories, and that's thanks to the amazing people whose stories they are. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni have joined the broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And as we step into year 3, which officially kicked off on March 1st, 2026, we have the opportunity today to bring you our Bearcat Breakroom. But I thought, going into year 3, why not celebrate in a bigger way? Why have one special when you can have 2? So today we will be featuring inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', our first Bearcat Breakroom, which will come to you with Mikey Squires. Mikey Squires coming from Binghamton University Wrestling, fresh off of defeating one of the top 3 wrestlers ranked in the entire country. He'll tell his story, speak on family, sports psychology, and so much more. The power of the mind. Coming up here with Mikey Squires. And that'll be followed at our normal time for Binghamton University every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time weekly, which we call Bearcat Time, where I will feature my sit-down conversation with the president of Binghamton University and EIWA. And from there, we'll round out the show as we always do on a Tuesday with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's, with today's topic being what's in your mind, fully taking my conversation with Mikey and bringing it full circle. Once again, as we celebrate going into year 3 in our partnership with Binghamton University and your Bearcats, we have not one, but 2 specials to truly honor, appreciate everything that we've done, and to get you ready for all that is to come. Thank you to Binghamton University for the opportunity to tell your story. Thank you to Gene Marshall for seeing my vision, to the coaches, to the athletic communications staff, to the staff and administration in general, the alumni, and of course the student athletes. I cannot thank you and tell you how much I appreciate it enough in words. That Binghamton University and I have been together for 2 years, and as we step into year 3 and all that is to come from here, I thought it fitting to not have one special spotlight, but to have 2, and to be able to feature your president, your leader, and EIWA. All of that's coming up right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Taproom, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Taproom.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, and you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. Get a sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I'm wearing my giant B and I got my scarf right over my shoulder here because we are officially in year 3 of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with the Binghamton University Bearcats. I can't believe it's year 3, and we are starting off year 3 with a massive spotlight on Binghamton University, and that is because we have not one but 2 specials here today on Tuesday, March 3rd to celebrate the first official week of year 3 of our partnership with Binghamton. We have the president of Binghamton University, and before you hear from Ann, you're hearing here from Mikey Squires. Mikey coming to us from Binghamton Wrestling, student athlete competing in the EIWA Championships inside the 2025-26 season in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom. Mikey, how you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
And Mikey, I got to say this to you. I'm a big fan of the Ninja Turtles. So,
Okay.
and being a big fan of the Turtles, my favorite turtle, who is my spirit animal, is Michelangelo. And all I can remember from one of the more recent movies is they're all in the elevator and it's quiet, and then they start kind of bopping, tapping on some stuff, and then you're hearing like these different sounds, and you just hear Michelangelo go, MC Mikey. And it just makes me think of Mikey. So tell me where I know obviously your name is Michael, but when did Mikey become the nickname? When did it become what people got used to calling you?
Yeah, so I'm actually, my full name is Michael Allen Squires III. So and it's like going around like with my dad to all different like competitions and stuff. Like it was always, he was Big Mike and I was Little Mike. And then I kind of like, my parents always called me Mikey. Then I don't know, I feel like it fit me a lot better than Michael. It felt a little too formal. So I think kind of probably like middle school, I just told people to start calling me Mikey, and it kind of stuck since then.
Yeah. So like you said, you're the third, and now you're simply Mikey, which I like here. So
Yeah.
shout out to obviously your family and the lineage, and of course you paving your own way. So in paving your own way, you took down the number 3 ranked wrestler in the country about a little over a week ago. Bring me into who that was. Bring me into the match and the fact that you took down one of the top 3 collegiate wrestlers in America.
Yeah. So this was the Last Chance Open. So this was basically like qualifying spots for nationals. I mean, there's a lot of calculations and stuff that go into it. And just like based on your match count and your win percentage. And so we knew that I was kind of on the line, for whether I was going to qualify a spot or not. We were iffy if I want to go to this competition, but my coach and I kind of decided like, let's take it into our own hands, and just trust myself, compete, know how to compete. And yeah, and I saw that he was in the bracket there. And I was like, this is going to be a great opportunity. So yeah, so it was Stephen Little. He wrestled my coach Lou Dupre a few years ago back in nationals as well. But yeah, I mean, going into the match, I mean, obviously, you see, you know that number, but I think years ago that definitely would have kind of scared me, would have made me tentative. I may not have competed my best, but I think I've just had so much trust in my training and my coaches this year, especially that I just was, and I know I can compete with anyone in the country. So just treat it like any other match, and just went out and hand fought hard right off the get-go, and then just it kind of fell into place as the match went on.
You said, I mean, to be a little bit nervous, to have those nerves, but to trust in your coaching, to trust in, what you can control and what you can do. How did you handle the, those things that kind of, those thoughts that come into your mind of, oh my gosh, I mean, the big bad wolf, right? This is a top 3 wrestler in the nation. So any negative thought, any thought of like worry or fear or any of that, how do you take all of those things that human beings normally have, right? It's easy to be negative is what people will say sometimes. So how do you take all of those things and say no to those thoughts, no to those feelings, and walk into that match and say, I'm blocking that out? How do you keep out all the noise that sometimes seeps into our mind?
Yeah, I think that's like really the ultimate challenge. I think you never master it. I think and that's one thing. When I remember, like I was really getting into sports psychology. I came under the impression that like, all right, these great athletes, they never get nervous, or they just have complete control of their thoughts. And the more you talk to them, the more you learn that that's a lie. Everyone's gonna have those thoughts all the time, and you just kind of learn different mental techniques to stop them. So like one thing I use, I call it like a mental garbage disposal, where I literally will imagine just like a kind of like a burning pit in my head, and if I have a negative thought, I just throw that thought like right into the fire. I don't think about it. And one thing I also realize is that gratitude is really big. I think it's impossible to feel anxious and gracious at the same time. So whenever I'm feeling anxious about a competition or an opponent, I just replace it with thoughts of being thankful for the opportunity to compete, thankful that I'm here at all. And then when you focus on those thoughts, then it just kind of blocks the rest out.
I love that. I love the two things you said, having a garbage disposal in your mind where you have a fire pit to throw that in there, because then you're envisioning it every time and you're just saying, hey, a bad thought comes in, here's the pit. Bad thought, here's the pit. And it gives you, because I say everybody has their thing, right? We have something that we say to ourselves or something we envision. But once you find what that thing is, you hold it close to your vest. Like, I know what works for me. I know what I can say to myself. And, you have your pit, and then I have my own kind of version of that. But I love what you said about you can't be gracious and anxious at the same time.
Yeah.
How did you learn that?
Um, I read it somewhere years ago. And like it's 'cause I mean I met with sports psychologists, just read sports psych articles. I was really trying to optimize my mind, and I can't tell you where I came across that, but I know that it stuck with me. And it's just one of those like easy mantras you can repeat to yourself, and just like an easy rule to live by.
Yeah, and it's while you said it, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, man, if you're anxious about something and you're worried about something, but then you say, hey, God, like when people worry about, like something, I've gone through in my life is when you want something good to happen. And then when it
Mhm.
happens, you're, instead of being like, hey, thank you that I have it, you're worried about losing it.
Yeah.
So then you flip it, right? And you flip it to like, instead of being like, oh God, I want it, I want it, I want it. And then God goes, here it is. And then you go, I don't want to lose it, I don't want to lose it. You just say, God, thank you that I have it. Thank you that I woke up with it. Thank you that I
Mhm.
had it yesterday, right? I can't enjoy what I do for a living if I'm afraid to lose it. I can't enjoy the lady on my arm if I'm afraid to lose her. I can't enjoy the fact that, I have my dog and, she's my little kid and I love her to pieces if I'm afraid to lose her. So that thing that you said, I'm going to take today and 100% put it in my, wheelhouse And my constant kind of mantra in my mind is you can't be anxious and gracious at the same time. I love that you said that, because if you appreciate the blessing you have, it takes the place of you worrying about losing it.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I think, yeah. And then kind of like what you were saying, just, I think I was really big into Stoicism for a bit too. I think that's kind of also what kind of led to that thought was like everything has an expiration date, but like, you don't focus on the expiration date. You just focus on the present. And then that's how you really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm glad you like it.
And you talk about Stoicism, which for those that don't know, it's ancient Greco-Roman philosophy. It's focused on achieving happiness and flourishing through virtue, reason, and accepting what we cannot control. So when you look at Stoicism, and I vaguely remember the word, but I'm sitting here in the studio having to look it up because it's been a minute since anything in school had taught me this. But when you think about what it is, I want to look here, and it says some of the things I'm kind of reading here as we go through. I want to give an exact kind of definition to it, because I know I gave a little kind of world into it, but the value of reasoning and coping with chaos. So I want to get your thoughts on this. Why did Stoicism kind of come into your life? Accepting the things you can't control and learning to master control of yourself in a world full of chaos.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to think back. I think like any young man, I was very interested in like ancient Rome and the ancient Greeks. And I think in high school, probably like English class, we kind of started learning about philosophy. And I think Stoicism was the one that I was drawn to the most, because it felt just the most practical and applicable to life and especially sport. And I think, yeah, like the definition you gave, the way I see Stoicism is just learning how to control the controllables. And I think so much of performance anxiety comes from this attempt, or like feeling the need to control factors that you can't control. And because things are always going to go wrong, like things never go to plan. And it's just really about learning how to roll with the punches. And when it comes down to it, really the only thing that you can control is like your attitude and your perspective, and your effort, attitude, perspective, and effort. And so as long as you're going into every workout competition with a good attitude, positive perspective, and you're giving 100% effort, you've done your job, and then you just kind of have to let the rest of it fall in place.
Mikey, I think I'm gonna hire you as like my coach, just my mental health coach. I'm gonna have you sit in here and be a part of the studio, and just be here for the positivity. Can besides what you learned in school and what you're studying in sports psychology, is there anything that kind of growing up in life, or anybody that helped you to have a positive mindset and a positive outlook? Have there been kind of pieces along the way, or people along the way, that you're like, wow, they really helped me to hone the talent of saying, yeah, I'm not going to be perfect, but I can definitely have the tools I need to handle life?
Yeah, I mean, I have to give pretty much all that credit to my parents. I think they definitely set like the groundwork for it. I was just a extremely type A anxious, like since I was young, constantly stressing about random things, and they would always be the ones just to talk to me and ground me. And I mean, it's nice being in Binghamton to where like I can see them every week, but I mean I still talk to them every night. So they're always the ones that are like telling me like, all right, like should you be stressed about this or should you not? And so they kind of keep me straight.
Yeah. And what are mom and dad's names?
Jamie and Mike.
You said Jamie?
Yep, that's my
Jamie and
mom.
Mike. So to Jamie and to obviously Mike in the lineage of the Michael Squires. So what do you want to say to mom and dad, to Jamie and Mike, if you could say anything to them right now?
I just thank you for everything. I mean, thank you for all the effort. I mean, you put into me and my sister. I mean, if we'd be nothing without them. Like just, um, getting out of work and then just being willing to drive us an hour in each direction to get to a practice, and always making sure that we have dinner ready right when we get home, and just doing that day after day, year after year, and always just also like offering all love and support. I mean, so thank you for being the rock and just giving us all these opportunities.
What's your sister's name?
Lauren.
Lauren.
Yeah,
So what do we want to say to Lauren? Is she older or younger?
she's younger.
She's younger. Okay, so what do you want to say to your little sis, Lauren, this morning?
Lauren, yeah, we get along great now. When we were younger, we used to bicker a little bit, but I mean, I say same thing to her. She funny enough, she used to be one of my wrestling partners. Because I mean, it's so desolate in upstate New York that we would struggle a lot to find partners. So we
Yeah.
had some mats in our basement, and I would just drill moves on her. So that was kind of the start of it all. So thank you, Lauren, for all your help as well.
Do you think that the moves that you utilized when you were practicing with your little sister Lauren growing up have some of those moves paid off for you at Binghamton?
Um, I mean, 100%. I think that's yeah. When I was dealing with her back when we were the same size, that was like the basics. So that would have been like my sweep single, and like probably like my Easton tilt. So I think yeah, that was kind of the start to what would eventually be like my main weapons.
Here in the Bearcat Breakroom with Mikey Squires, spotlighting him and Binghamton Wrestling as they're heading to the EIWA Championships here in the 2025-26 season. Of course, we're on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and inside of year 3, officially starting this week, of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. And as we celebrating with not one, but 2 Bearcat specials here for you on Tuesday, March 3rd. Mikey, for you, do you have a favorite move? Do you have a favorite thing that you do? Is there kind of like the Mikey Squires go-to, your finisher? I mean, I think I kind of put a bunch of things together because you look at wrestling, and I've wrestled before. My cousin was big into wrestling, my cousin Jeff, and he invited me over to the house, and I beat him so many times that he kicked me out of his house, and he's older than me. So like there's certain moves that you may think, okay, well that's worked, so I'm going to keep going back there, and that frustrates people. And then I played Mortal Kombat growing up, and I do the same moves and whatnot. So when you think about moves, that thing that works, people get friggin' mad at you, and when they face you year in and year out, it's like, why? But it's like, why? Because it works. You don't mess with a good thing. So do you have a move or two, or you're just like, this is my finisher, this is my scorpion, get over here? Like, do you have something like that?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I think it's sad. Like, I mean, I think my sweep single, my lefty single, everyone knows it's coming, but it's the one thing that's hard to stop. I think I don't like to be too reliant on any one thing. I think that's important about being versatile, and the guy has a good defense for something. So you got other moves you can use, but yeah, that's I'd say that's been my go-to for pretty much ever.
When you're studying an opponent, have you ever been caught by surprise in a match of something they tried to throw at you that you didn't see on film or that you didn't know was coming?
Oh, for sure. All the time. I mean, I think too. I try not to watch too much film. I think because it's important to want to wrestle your own game and not try to like wrestle a certain way to plan for someone. But yeah, guys surprise you all the time. And I think that's where my wrestling style is. I like to funk. I like to scramble. So it's yeah, if they hit me something unpredicted, like that's fine because in practice I've trained so much in these scramble positions and just like not it's you can't plan those out entirely. So you just get used to being uncomfortable and kind of like managing that chaos.
Why do you feel like you've been so successful? When you say, hey, I don't try to watch a lot of film because I don't want to get stuck in what they do. I want to go, going back to Stoicism, right? I want to focus on what I can control within the chaos of life. So why do you feel like you've been so successful in what you do if it's not for beating them at their game, but it's playing your own game? What has come with, I mean, compounded success, right? Success on top of success isn't accidental. Any squirrel can get a nut at some point, but when you are consistently good and not occasionally great, there's something to that. So why do you feel like you've been consistently successful in your game?
Um, I mean, I think it just comes down to staying the course. I mean, everyone sees like your successes, but no one sees as much like the losses. In the sense that I mean, yeah, it kind of comes all back to the same stuff. Like success is not just a straight upward trajectory. And there's lots of hills and valleys. I mean, 2 years ago, at 174 season, I felt it was like the worst season of my life. A really bad losing record. I mean, I was struggling to get just a few wins. I felt horrible all the time. My confidence was low. I didn't even know if I wanted to keep wrestling. But kind of just gotta have that just that consistent pressure. It's on yourself. Like, okay, no, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna see it through. Yeah, and then it just comes down to doing the extra work. I'm super fortunate here that I got a ton of guys that around my weight that are all super hard workers, and when I ask them to get extra workouts in, and we're doing extra workouts like a few times a week. So I think all of it just it adds up, and as long as you take it on a day by day approach, then you'll see the success build over time in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the guys that are with you on this team. I've interviewed so many guys over the years in this exclusive multimedia marketing partnership between Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Binghamton University. Carter Bear's been on the show a bunch. And, as I'm going through and I'm looking at the roster of guys, there's guys that have come through the program that have been on the broadcast. And of course, you're here with me today, Carson Wagner. And then you have, Brevin Casella, who is on the coaching staff, and he's been on the show before, as well as your head coach Ryan LeBlanc. And I mean, just looking at this team makeup, I feel very spoiled because I didn't do a lot of collegiate wrestling interviews going into my partnership with Binghamton, and now over these last 2 years plus, I've spoken with so many of the student athletes, and now having you on. What's it like to be in this atmosphere? Because you transferred from Princeton to Binghamton, so what was it that spoke to you that made you feel like I want to be a part of what Binghamton's doing? Because I know my perspective from what I've seen and who I've had and been, able to talk to. But what was it that made you think, okay, Princeton, this was good. I enjoyed it. But why Binghamton?
Yeah. Yeah, so Binghamton was like one of the schools I was considering out of high school as well. But then so like when I graduated Princeton and considering like where I want to use my last year. I think like Binghamton, it really just checked all the boxes for me. I think like you said, I mean, just in terms of training partners, but between the coaching staff and all the guys around my weight, like every single day you're wrestling someone that is like a national qualifier, all American level. It's honestly insane, like just the how good of training partners you have here, if you're an upper weight. And I think that as long as like with the culture, as Binghamton was the first wrestling college wrestling room I ever wrestled in. They used to have the Bearcats club when I was in high school, so I kind of got exposure to the college guys then. And I loved the culture and the atmosphere. It just kind of just put your head down and work. Everyone's very down to earth. So yeah, and then this proximity to home. I mean, being right back in Section 4 where I started all of this, like all that together, it was just like a perfect combination for me to finish out my career.
Yeah, we're looking at the fact that the end of February you were voted Wrestler of the Week for the EIWA Eastern Intercollegiate Wrestling Association, which features the American, Army West Point, as well as Bucknell, Drexel, Franklin and Marshall, Hofstra, Lehigh, Long Island University, Morgan State, Navy, Sacred Heart, and of course, Binghamton. How would you describe the EIWA? I mean, I've spoken with Binghamton about how historic of a conference this is and just, what it's meant. It's the 122nd EIWA Championships that you're going to be going into. So what can you say about competition in the EIWA and what this specific place has in the greater world of collegiate wrestling when we talk about EIWA, this association?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one tough conference. I think it's interesting because like with the Ivies, I mean the Ivy split off from EIWA last year was the first year they split. So when I wrestled at EIWA 2 years ago, it was all combined, and then now I see that split. So it's interesting for me to kind of see both sides of that, but. I said, I mean, everyone's a respectable opponent. I mean, there's no one light in D1 wrestling. And I think it's coolest to get like this kind of this Northeast conference where I really think some of the best wrestling in the country is just right in the Northeast. So, and you're getting like all local guys going to their colleges. So you see these same guys in high school and you wrestle them now in college. It's a small world, and it's cool to see the come up of these guys and just always have a great competition.
Yeah, I mean, and when you were at Princeton, what was the experience like for you there versus what you have now with the EIWA? How would you describe Princeton's competition in your schedule comparative to Binghamton's schedule and competition?
Yeah, that's I think Princeton we probably travel a little bit more, like getting on flights just to go out to a duel or two. I think we probably wrestle a little bit more like kind of Big Ten level opponents at Princeton. Um, but I mean, I think overall though, quality of like schedule, like I mean, you still go to tournaments. I missed a lot of our tougher tournaments at the beginning of the year, just because I was still out with my ACL injury. But schedule as a whole, I mean, you're getting great competition in both regards.
And for you, like you said, to figure out where you're going to spend that graduate year for Binghamton University to go a little bit deeper into it, they had a coaching change with Ryan LeBlanc coming in, and they, obviously kept a couple guys on staff that used to wrestle at Binghamton. What was it that deeper into it when we look at the scholastic side and what Binghamton offers you in the classroom as a grad student and what you're studying in, sports psychology and whatnot? What was it scholastically with Binghamton and then team atmosphere? What kind of sold you? What was the total Bearcat package? Because you only have 1 year left. Obviously, you got to be smart, right? It's not like you
Yeah.
can say, okay, I'm going to come here, and if it doesn't work out, I'll transfer again. So, what was it about Binghamton as a total package that really spoke to you?
Total package. I mean, yeah, I just um I feel like I kind of stated it already. I mean, it's just that the location, people, culture, um, and I think all together is like I knew there. I think yeah, it's important to say for your last year there is a certain level of risk and where you want to choose in the sense that you want to make sure that you have like really good training partners
Yeah.
so that you can be the best wrestler, but also there's a chance if you go to a place that's too good, you might not break the starting lineup. And no one wants to spend their last year on the bench. And I knew Binghamton, like it was like, yeah, like there's a lot of great guys here. So like I'm really gonna have to compete. And I was fortunate enough to the way that the weights worked out and kind of scattered that we were all able to be in the lineup and train with each other, so had to compete for spots. But yeah, I think it's a training partner, and then just like being close to my family and all the coaches in Section 4 that kind of brought me up, being able to see them at matches, I mean, has been great. And then it kind of it really made sense.
Why run toward competition instead of away from it?
That's the only way to get better. You gotta, I mean, if you constantly run, like you gotta expose the holes in your game. I think that's the only way that like it's a hard truth, but it's a truth you gotta learn.
Is coming from Mikey Squires here in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. In the dual meet standings, there's two divisions. You talked about the EIWA separating into two. There's the Independence Division and the Liberty Division. In the Independence Division, where Binghamton calls home in the EIWA, you are second only to Drexel. What can you say about overall what Binghamton looks like as we head toward the EIWA Championships in just a few days?
I think our team looks great. And I think you're going to see the best version of our team you've seen all season. And Coach LeBlanc, and he tells us like you just want to get a little bit better every competition. And I think we've been doing that as you look back at our last few duels against Sacred Heart and Cornell and our last chance open tournament. Everyone over the entire lineup is competing super well. And I think you're gonna see, which to me won't be surprises, but maybe to outsiders that have not been following too closely, I might be surprises. But you're gonna see a lot of guys break through at this conference tournament.
EIWA Championships Day 1 this Friday, March 6th. Day 2 this Saturday, March 7th. Friday will start off at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And the EIWA Championships, not only representing within this conference, when you look at American, Army, Navy, representing the country, but this is going to be in Washington, D.C., in our nation's capital. What does that mean to you, that as you look forward to and are hopeful of you having your own berth in the NCAAs, that before that happens, you have an opportunity to showcase yourself and your team as a unit gets to showcase itself one more time at the EIWAs, and of all places, to be in our nation's capital of Washington, D.C.?
I mean, it's pretty awesome. I think like wrestling has taken me more places that than I can imagine that I never would have been otherwise. And like just to be in DC, like I mean, you drive to the tournament and you're looking out the window and like you see, and it just it's there's a certain amount of aura I'm sure it's gonna hit me. Like just being in that environment. But yeah, I think just and as the conference as a whole, I mean, it's just a great experience. I mean, you think yeah, there's opportunity for everyone to get that ultimate goal of reaching into nationals. But just it's going to be a fun place to compete.
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity to speak with Binghamton wrestlers that have gone on to nationals within these last couple of years, and I'm hoping that this man right next to me here on the screen, Mikey Squires, is going to be going into nationals as well, but not before he wins and has a lot of success and is able to enjoy and have some fun at the EIWAs in Washington, D.C. Mikey, before we hop out of here, we do a thing on Wake Up Call called Rapid Fire. We can talk about any subject, any topic, any question, no preparation whatsoever. It's just whatever's top of mind to us. We will ask questions to each other back and forth. You get to start things off. What's your first question for me?
What is the biggest animal you could beat in a fight?
I'm not afraid of anything. So I would say to you, I will say I've always wanted to be a husband and a father. So it's not really a fear, but that's something that like I think about a lot. But I would say when it comes to an animal, I mean, I'm named Daniel. I have a lot of connections to the Saint Daniel, and kind of really weird. Like he was an interpreter of dreams, and God would send him visions that he didn't understand, and he had to kind of figure out, and God would help him through it. And I've been sent a lot of dreams before about heaven, about a lot of different things, so I feel that connection. And when I went to Italy with my dad, we went to the Vatican, and we went into, and people don't know this, but when you go into the Sistine Chapel, you cannot shoot any video, you can't take any pictures. And so we went into the Sistine Chapel, and I remember saying to myself, walk forward, find a spot in the middle, because before you look up, I want you to have like a spot where you can see everything, because this is the first time you're going to ever look at this. And I walked toward my dad, and I remembered, what's supposed to be at the Sistine Chapel, right? God reaching out to man. So I walk to the middle and I go to look up. Well, as I walk to the middle, I'm turned to my right. The first thing I did was look directly up from where I was standing, and I didn't even know that he was in this room. Where I stood, where I turned, and where I looked straight up, Saint Daniel was looking down at me.
Wow.
And that was just wild to me. So I say that because Daniel in the lion's den. And yeah, I mean, listen, I trust that God would put me in a good place no matter what. So I'd say bring on the lion, bring on the bear, bring on
I
whatever.
love it.
And, bring on the hippo, because people think they're docile, but they can be mean. So yeah, I would say whatever animal, human, or anything that comes against me, I go back to what God said in the Bible and what he asks us to repeat, which is no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So that's what I believe.
I like that.
Yeah. My question back to you. All right, Mikey. If you could wrestle any fictional character, superhero, villain, animal, anything. If you could wrestle anything from a fictional world, be it Marvel, Harry Potter, DC, anything you can think of, what would you wrestle and why?
Wow, that's a great question. Huh. I think, I want to go down the superhero route.
Mm-hmm.
So what another chance can you get? I feel probably Batman. I think, without all the gadgets and all his special tools,
Yeah.
I don't think he's got much left. So I think that would probably be the best superhero you could beat that's not gonna beat you with some kind of special superpower.
So this is my 1B. Is it Robert Pattinson? Is it, let me think here. Is it Ben Affleck? Is it Christian Bale? Is it George Clooney? Is it Val Kilmer? Is it Michael Keaton? Is it Adam West? Which Batman?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. He's
Yeah.
he is by far the scariest Batman because in the movie with Heath Ledger, what was that one? The Dark Knight. That was the Dark Knight. And when he was in that one, I remember seeing Heath Ledger as the Joker, and he was scary. And then they'd go to Batman, and Christian Bale was so much scarier even, and Heath Ledger did such a great job that I found myself in the theater going, "Can you go back to the Joker?" Because Batman at that one point, Bale like pulls the guy up. He's in the dark, and they're on like some, I don't know, scaffolding, and he grabs him and he like spits in his face, and he's like, "Where is he?" And I'm just like that Batman is horrifying. So you want to fight Christian Bale? I give you a lot of credit.
Gotta choose the competition.
Yeah, gotta choose the best. All right, what's your next question for me?
Ooh, what is the most useless skill that you're proud of?
I've never been asked this question, and I love it. The most useless skill that I'm proud of. Oh my goodness. I gotta think. I don't think being able to be good at impersonations is a useless skill because I think it allows me to, maybe get into a building someday because I can mask my voice. So I'm not gonna say that. What is a useless skill that I'm proud of? Oh my goodness. I would say it's useful in a game, but I'm really good at making shots from anywhere on a basketball court. That's my sport. And so I have made some insane half court shots, and I think in 4 or 5 places in central New York, I've made my first shot and there was a witness. But I've made some insane half court shots. I've taken my shoes off and done it flat footed recently. So I'd probably say the half court shot.
I like it.
I like that question. My question back to you, I kind of want to know yours now. What is your most useless skill that you're proud of?
Oh man. I think no matter when I go to bed or no matter what time I wake up, I always seem to wake up about like 1 or 2 minutes before my alarm clock goes off. And it doesn't matter what time it's in, my brain just knows what time I want to get up. So
Yeah.
I guess like I was gonna get up regardless because the alarm clock. So I think pretty useless, but it could be pretty helpful.
Yeah, I think like that internal time clock, I have something very similar to that where my body knows to get not necessarily a lot earlier, but like early enough that it's like, hey, you got to be up by, 9 o'clock today, so it wakes me up at 8:56 or something like that. All right, what's your last question for me, Mikey?
What is a conspiracy that you almost believe? Or what's the most fun conspiracy that you almost believe?
What is the conspiracy that I almost believe? Well, there's a bunch of them that were called conspiracies that all ended up being true. So I think conspiracy is another word for we'll find out it's true at some point. But I would say there's a conspiracy that I'm interested in, but I don't want it to be true. But I've taken astronomy, and it would make more sense that it's true than it's not true. But I don't like the thought of it because I don't know what they are and what they look like and what their plan is. But the fact that aliens are real, like that every time like President Trump's like, hey, I'm going to release something, I'm like, oh, wow, really? And then another part of me is like, no, no. Because because the moment I see it and I know it, like I've dreamt about aliens, I've dreamt about like my future wife, can't remember it. You ask me my alien dreams, I remember them perfectly. It's haunting. So, and I also have this belief, and I've never shared this before, but it's happened to me more than once. When they talk about, I forget what they call it, but like this like soul travel where your soul can leave your body and you essentially, like while you're sleeping, you can leave your body and hover. And I remember the last time that I fully remember doing it, my soul left my body and like I remember floating, being above the ground, going down the stairs. And it's the wildest thing because like you can see it happening, but it feels really strange and you can feel yourself off the ground. So I would say probably that conspiracy of like, is that actually true or is that a deep sleep? And that if aliens are real, because if they are, I don't want to know. That's what I would say. And yeah, because it freaks me out a little bit. All right, my last question for you. Man, this might be my like favorite rapid fire. So my last one for you, Mikey. All right, Mikey. So if you were to be the ruler of any kingdom, fake or real, in history, because you talked about Greco-Roman and studying ancient times and whatnot. If you could be the ruler of any empire, real or something you saw in a movie, what throne would you sit on and why?
Man, see, I'm trying to think like what are some good like fictional empires?
Well, there's Asgard for Thor. There's Game of Thrones, right? So there's those.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's obviously Gladiator and going back to those times.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's real ones.
Yeah, I think at least if it was all right, real. Like I said, I mean, I've been obsessed with ancient Rome. I mean, just to be the guy calling the shots, like watching the gladiators go, like that's got to be sick. But I mean, Game of Thrones too. I mean, to be able just to have some pet dragons, like that's I doesn't get cooler than that.
Yeah. Now dragons, that is a conspiracy that I hope is true. So
yes, yeah,
I definitely would love that. Like if I remember, so my dog Lily, she is like a human being in a dog's body, and she's definitely my little daughter. And so one day, and this is like no preparation, I'm watching Game of Thrones, and I'm sitting at my friend's house, and I'm on the floor, and I'm just sitting with my legs open, and she's like walking toward me, and I looked at her. I had never tried this before. And in Game of Thrones, when you want a dragon to spit fire, you say Dracarys. And so I looked at Lily, and she's walking toward me, and I go, Lily, Dracarys. and she walked toward me. She stopped, and then she burped and like put her face forward, so like she tried to do it. And I was like, coolest dog ever, like the
That's
best.
all.
So I would love to have a pet dragon, and I've felt that way since I was, I don't know, like 5 years old. So
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Game of Thrones is a good one. If there's a way that we could somehow share the throne or work together, Mikey, that I would appreciate.
Oh, I'd love that.
With that being said, Mikey Squires, Bearcat Breakroom, Binghamton Wrestling student athlete, competing in the EIWA Championships coming up this Friday, March 6th and Saturday, March 7th in Washington, D.C. And hopefully the NCAAs from there, and the man that I hope will be sitting on the throne of the EIWA and the NCAAs in a not too distant future. Mikey, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad, despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here. We just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can see them online at greatlakeshondacity.com. You know that the Binghamton University Bearcats have been near and dear to my heart for many years, and I pursued the opportunity of a multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University and to do things differently in telling the story of Binghamton, and I want to thank everyone at Binghamton University who helped to make it possible. And we're officially in year 3 now as of March 1st, 2026, and so it's only fitting that my first conversation going into year 3 is with Ann DeLeva here with us to celebrate the opportunity for her to take over to lead Binghamton University as their president. And this happened within the last few months. I haven't had the opportunity or the blessing to have Ann on yet, but it's perfect timing and very poetic as we go into year 3 of our partnership with Binghamton and Wake Up Call to have the leader of all things Bearcats. Ann, how are you?
Dan, it's so great to be here with you today. Thank you so much for having me.
And it's my pleasure. And, you know, I had the opportunity to watch you speak most recently when it came to women's flag football, and we will go there in just a little bit. But, Ann, your story, just the journey that you've had en route to becoming president of Binghamton University, bring me into kind of the road that got you here and some of those stops that you feel like are very important to telling your story.
Sure, thanks so much. So I'm a native New Yorker. I was born in the Bronx and raised mostly in Pelham in Westchester County. And it's really wonderful for me to come to Binghamton because this is coming back to my home state. I spent 26 years at the University of Connecticut, where I served in a number of administrative roles, but I started out there as a faculty member, and I'm an art historian with a specialization in women's gender and sexuality studies. I served in numerous administrative leadership roles at UConn as a department chair, as an associate dean, as dean of the School of Fine Arts for 7 years, and 3 years as provost. And you know, for me, I became an academic administrator because I wanted to lean into solving problems, right? I saw challenges and I saw things where I thought I could help and I could step in. I cared deeply about higher education and the good and the impact that higher education has and the good that we do not only for our own students, but for our surrounding communities and as public universities for our states and the nation. And so I wanted to lean into that. And so I don't think any child wakes up and says, hey, I want to be a college president someday, much less a provost or a dean. But it was, for me, it was scholarship and teaching and the love of being in the classroom with students and the love of art history that pulled me into higher education.
For you, when you speak on the arts and you speak on, you know, studying women's gender and sexuality, how does that mix into everything that you do to this day? Your love of the arts and then obviously your love and appreciation of what it means to be a woman and how that comes into society and the storytelling of that, which is very unique, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a great meeting a few weeks ago with students in the art history club here at Binghamton. They were some of the first people who reached out to me when I was announced as president. And they actually asked me this same question that you're asking me. As what does it mean? Do you bring art history to your work as a university president? And I said, I take a humanities perspective all the time. In that I hear myself say in meetings all the time, let's take a step back and look at this. Let's take a step back and look at the context of whatever situation we're looking at. As an art historian, as a humanities scholar, I'm trained to look at context and culture and to understand people's actions in terms of their experiences, what they're bringing to a situation. So I use that kind of humanities perspective all the time. As a scholar of women's studies, I'm incredibly sensitive to what voices get centered, what voices get silenced, and why, and how can we create an environment where everyone's at the table, right? That is inclusive, that is open, that is welcoming, and everyone has a chance to belong. So that is certainly something I bring as well.
In the daily of leading a university, I can imagine that that's on your mind all the time, to have representation, equality, for everyone to not only have a seat at the table, but for that seat to mean something. How does that come through in your daily leadership at Binghamton?
Yeah, that comes through in so many ways. It means that in every decision we make, we need to understand the impact of that decision on every sector of our community, right? Whether that is when we're thinking about community partners, faculty, staff, students, or we're thinking about the different identities that people bring to the university and how different populations at the university, different communities and groups might be affected by decisions we make. So it goes back to that humanities idea of always understanding our decisions in context, in the context of our cultural environment here at the university.
When you look at messaging and, what your expectations are, what your hopes are for Binghamton University, we're living in an ever-changing world, but that change feels so much more rapid now. They call it the microwave society. And there's certain things that you take a stand on. There's certain things that schools might, stay away from and focus in other areas. When you look at Binghamton and you spoke about a school representing its state, it's representing the country, it's representing its community, how would you describe Binghamton University moving forward? What matters? What are the pillars and the foundational pieces of what it means to be a Bearcat?
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts there. So I often talk about the 4 pillars of our work as a great public university, right? That is education, research and scholarship, economic development, and community engagement. Right? Those are the 4 pillars of our work. Those are the things that stand at the heart of everything we do. And each of those pillars, we should engage in them on a continuum from local to statewide to national to global, right? So our community engagement is absolutely about engaging with the Tri-Cities. It's about engaging with Broome County. It's about engaging with our home. But we engage with communities across the state when we do work on health disparities, for example. That's work that engages multiple communities. It's work that has implications nationally and globally that people can draw on and draw meaning from. So those are the pillars of our work. When I started at the university, I engaged in a listening tour. We made 38 stops in 44 days, met a variety of groups of faculty, staff, students, community members, government leaders, business leaders. And one of the things that people said over and over again about Binghamton, about this university, is people pointed to the desire to have impact, the desire to do good, to make a difference in the world, right? And community engagement was very much at the heart of that. And that's very much, I think, in the DNA of this university. And then this sense of community here at the university. People said, people show up for each other here. We have a really strong community here. We help each other out. We connect with each other. It's something that I call the Binghamton Bond. And I think it's something that really talk about the DNA of this university. There's just a strong, tight sense of community here.
Ann DeLeva here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Binghamton University president, leading us forward for the Bearcats. You spoke about the Binghamton Bond. And when I wanted to work with Binghamton University years ago, I had a feel, I had a sense of this could be a really special place to work with. Mm-hmm. Then I started meeting the people, the student athletes, the coaches, the administration, and walking around. And I thought to myself, this is quickly becoming beyond my wildest dreams. The stories, the people, the integrity, the morality, the just essence of what it means to be a part of this Binghamton Bond, as you call it. How have you experienced that? And do you remember your first, I know you said that, you had students come to you initially, but do you remember a first moment where you really got a sense of what it means to have the Binghamton Bond?
Yeah, so I think it was the really warm welcome that I received. So when I was announced in August, so many people reached out, whether faculty, university leaders, community leaders, our staff, our students reached out to welcome me, and that was really just something very, very special. And when I started the listening tour, it was just hearing from people and how passionate people were and saying, yeah, we show up for each other here. We're connected to each other here. Binghamton makes a difference. And just hearing that repeated over and over again in very different contexts with very different groups, it was something that came across really powerfully.
Leadership is to everyone's own making, right? And for you, how would you define leadership when you look at how you do it, what matters to you? I know we've spoken about some pillars and experiences, but how would you define leadership in today's world?
So for me, leading is really serving. I mentioned before I became an administrator because there were challenges or problems that I wanted to solve, that I wanted to help find a path forward. So to me, leading is serving. I think we always need to put our people first and our community first. Sometimes I think I do this very organically. There are, lots of theories around this being a servant leader, but for me, it comes from the heart. You lead with empathy. You lead with respect, deep respect for others. You lead with listening. That's why I called my first engagements with the community very deliberately a listening tour. So it wasn't me just talking at people and telling them what I wanted for the university or what my hopes and dreams were. It was about me asking, what are your hopes and dreams for the university? What is your experience of the university? And that has to inform everything that we do. I sometimes will say, when we're struggling with a decision in my senior leadership group, I'll say, let's put students first, right? Let's take a students first perspective on this. Let's put the student experience at the center of this problem. And that will guide us to the right decision when we think about what's best for the student experience. So for me, it's always about putting our people first, our students at the center, our faculty, our staff, our community partners, our government partners, our industry leaders, our partners there, putting people at the center of everything that we do.
And you mentioned something, and I think it speaks to the difference between listening to hear and listening to respond. Why was it so important to you to have that intent, that listening to hear what people had to say, to not just go around and shake hands and look like you care, but to actually take it in and then do something with it?
Right. So in my experience as a leader, when you impose ideas or decisions or initiatives from the top, often they don't thrive. They have to be embedded in the community, right? And it doesn't mean as a leader, I make plenty of hard decisions. There are things that are my call and that where I have to make a decision, and I'm certainly not going to make everyone happy every day. But when there is dialogue, when I'm paying attention to what is emerging from the community, I stepped in here where this was already a university experiencing a lot of growth and success. President Stenger had been an enormously impactful leader. There were decades of success here, decades of impact, decades of opportunity. That was something to build on, right? So it isn't about me coming in and imposing my vision top down, but inviting the community to say, sure, am I bringing certain ideas to the table? Absolutely. But I need to hear what are the strengths that are emerging from the community? What are the ideas and initiatives emerging from the community? That's where we're going to find success when we put those things together.
And EIWA here with us in this Bearcat Breakroom, president of Binghamton University, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. That connection, that desire to help people, to listen, to build. You mentioned Harvey Stenger and what he did as president. What did you see in Binghamton University from what had already been accomplished that you thought, this is the right place, this is the right home, this is the right decision for me to make?
Yeah, I think for me it was the the quality of everything that goes on here. So to start from the people, the students at Binghamton are absolutely fantastic. Terrific students. They are smart, they're hardworking, they're motivated, they're energetic. Undergraduate and graduate students, they're just a joy. So that was tremendously appealing. The faculty and staff, incredibly high quality, world-class faculty, such dedicated staff. I just spent the past 2 days having our service recognition breakfasts. We have to do two because there are so many people, 10-year anniversaries, 15, 20, 25. We even had 40-year anniversaries. People come here and they're so dedicated. They build their careers, they build their lives here. And that is something, that dedication, that feeling that everyone is all in on the mission of the university, that's an incredibly precious thing. And that was absolutely one of the things that attracted me to Binghamton. Also, for me, the way the state is investing in SUNY, the governor and the state are just visionary in understanding the value of SUNY for the state of New York and investing in higher education. And again, that's something that right now is too rare in our country, that appreciation for an understanding of the impact of higher education.
And going off of that, I always say that when you're growing up, you're in the world, but you don't know you're in the world when you're a kid, right? You have your parent or your guardian and you experience some things, but you're somewhat guarded. And then after you leave college, you're in it 100%. But college is that bridge between I'm not fully on my own, but I'm getting experiences of it. What is the importance of getting an education, be it 4 years or more, when you talk about the investment that the state of New York puts into SUNY? Why would you say to someone that going to college, going to a university, what is the value of that to your life, in your opinion?
It is an incredible privilege to experience an education at a 4-year American research university. The richness of experience. We sometimes talk about holistic student success, that we pay attention to every dimension of the student's development. It's academic development, it's personal growth, it's social growth, it's their health and wellness, it is their career preparation. So we are preparing students. Sometimes the conversation gets kind of reduced right now as if we're simply about career preparation and getting a good job. We're about creating the foundations for a meaningful, impactful life in every dimension. Career preparation, absolutely. But all these other things, the academic growth, the intellectual growth, the personal, the social and emotional growth, this is what lays the foundation for a rich and meaningful life. It is an incredible privilege to have that opportunity and to spend 4 years in a place that is completely focused on the student's growth across, multiple dimensions.
And to add into that, top 10 public Ivy League school in the entire country, the education side of it, because we will talk about athletics in a second, but the student in student athlete still mattering at Binghamton University, that it's not just a simple hyphenated word that we've thrown away the first part of. Bring me into that side for the student athlete, for the student in general, to have a top 10 public Ivy League school that is so intent on giving you an education that can last a lifetime.
Absolutely. So for our student athletes, you're right. We lean into that definition every day. And what I've been so impressed by here is the leadership of our athletic director, Jean Marshall. Our coaches are so invested in that holistic student development, right? And in the student development of the student athlete. Our students come here, our student athletes come here because they love their sport. They want to play and compete at the D1 level, but they are also highly motivated students, right? Who are engaging academic disciplines. So many of them, double majors, a major and a minor, a major and 2 minors, even as they are college athletes competing at the highest level. So I very much appreciate that. I appreciate what our student athletes bring to the classroom. So their abilities in leadership, in teamwork, in focus, their grit, their tenacity, they bring all of that they've developed, those skill sets they've developed in athletics, they bring into the classroom experience, and they enrich the classroom experience for every student.
And when we look at sports, when we look at the world of athletics, each leader of a college and university may see it differently. Some see athletics as the doorstep of a university. How do you look at athletics? Where does it fit in with you at Binghamton University, with you leading as the president? Where do you place athletics? How do you define the role of athletics for a university?
So number one, students first, right? We value our student athletes because they bring these special talents and skills and enrich our university community with their talents and skills, right? So as a former dean of fine arts, I see our student athletes like our artists and performers. We invite students in to the university community who are great painters or cellists because of that skill set. Similarly with our lacrosse players and our basketball players, right? So first, they are students, and they are students who are bringing a very special talent and skill set that we value. Secondly, broadening out from that, there's a wonderful way that athletics builds a sense of community and a sense of school pride and school spirit. And that is a wonderful thing, especially when, and I don't, not so much at Binghamton, but just broadly for young people, when there is an epidemic of loneliness, when people struggle to form community, there's nothing more terrific than going to a basketball game or going on a nice fall night, sitting outdoors and going to a soccer game under the lights, on a fall evening, and we're intrepid here in Binghamton, heading out to a lacrosse game in the springtime, right? Sometimes we have to clear the snow off the field, but we are there, right? So that creates a sense of community and a great experience for every student in the larger communities surrounding us. And I don't think in an age when we're all too drawn to our screens and our phones, experiencing that sense of community together and being all in to support our student athletes, that's something really precious.
And you mentioned the leadership of athletics director Gene Marshall. How has that, since you've come in August, how has that relationship, kind of that bond that you two have in working together, what can you say to that effect? Because I've been in places where athletics and the school they're treated very separate. And there's other places where they're in lockstep and they're working together on the daily and they're having these conversations that are continuing. So what is that conversation like with Gene Marshall, and just how you personally envision athletics moving forward when it comes to Binghamton?
So I really appreciate that Gene has invested so heavily. He sets such in the culture of athletics, right? And so academics is in partnership with, there's academic achievement and athletic achievement, and they are melded. They go together and this is where that public Ivy designation, it's very much like an Ivy League athletic experience in that way, in that you have young people who want to excel as athletes, but also want to excel in the classroom. And these two things go together. And Gene has put the pieces in place to support that vision for our athletes. I think Gene and I are both very ambitious about our athletes, and that we should be highly competitive across a range of sports. So I'm looking forward to building that competitiveness.
And before I let you go, and I appreciate that spirit of being competitive and wanting the best for the students and the student athletes, and what you had to say about community. We live in, like I said, an ever-changing world that's changing so rapidly, with NIL, with the NCAA, settlement, the House settlement. So looking at what universities, conferences are going to invest in certain ways to essentially paying student athletes with name, image, and likeness, and what that's become. And then you look at the transfer portal, there's these very big things that kind of just, stuck their nails into collegiate athletics into colleges and universities over these last few years. How do you tackle that? How do you look at that?
I think our best way to navigate this, and it is a time of rapid change, our best way is to lean into our mission and our values as a university and as an athletics program. Our focus is on the student athletes, students first. Are we doing things that benefit students? Right? Are we benefiting our student athletes? Are we supporting their holistic growth individually and collectively? That has to be the land we stand on. And when we put our students first in every decision we make, we're not going to make a wrong decision, right? So I want to make sure our student athletes have the opportunity to excel and to compete and to grow in the classroom and on the playing field. That's number one. However we handle NIL and all of the changing rules and the portals along the way, we will handle those by putting our students first.
And you talk about putting the students first. Final note, women's flag football. It's something that in upstate New York has, over the last couple of years here, been ramping up. I had the opportunity in central New York to be a part of the inaugural seasons of a bunch of high schools bringing in girls flag football. Then I get this awesome news that Binghamton University is bringing in another sport, their 22nd sport, women's flag football, spring of 2028. I could not be more excited. You spoke at the event. Bring me into what this means for Binghamton University as a pioneer of a sport that is quickly taking over America.
Yeah, I am so excited that we are going to be introducing women's flag football as our 22nd sport. We will then have 11 varsity sports on the men's side and the women's side, which is very important. This is, as you noted, an emerging sport. It's supported by the NCAA as an emerging sport. There's a lot of interest nationally in developing flag football. As I understand it, there are 17 high schools in Broome County that are playing girls flag football. We hosted Binghamton High School when we made the announcement. The team came. They were fantastic young athletes, so impressive. And I think it's great for Binghamton to be a leader in women's athletics. As we all know, everybody watches women's sports, and women's flag football is going to be very exciting. And in fact, I brought my football here.
I love it.
And see, everyone can see women's flag football. We are on brand here at Binghamton.
Yeah, we have to do something, and to make sure that one of those footballs can end up in this studio by that Binghamton scarf.
I think that's a necessity. Absolutely.
So with that being said, for the Binghamton University president, Ann DeLeva, here with us in this special Bearcat Breakroom on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our partnership with Binghamton University. And thank you so much for taking some time and letting us get to know the leader behind the scenes and in front of the scenes of Binghamton University. Ever since I saw your name come through and that you are going to be taking on this role a few months ago, I wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to give you the spotlight to speak on leadership and what matters to you. So I really do appreciate that you took the time today.
Dan, thank you so much for having me. It was a terrific conversation. I really appreciated all of your thoughtful questions, and I appreciate your support for Binghamton and for our Bearcats. So thank you.
My pleasure. I think it's only safe to say that we got to do one thing at the end here. I'll say 1, 2, 3, and we'll do that Go Bearcats in unison here. So, Ann, 1, 2, 3. Go Bearcats.
Go Bearcats.
I love it. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're going to have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks today. Let them know that DT sent you. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. They just had a fantastic Tops Rip Night event featuring Kyan Anthony, and I was proud to MC that event. I'm looking forward to everything that is to come. They are a community-centric place, a wonderful place to go for you to just enjoy time going and looking for the players that you love, the teams that you love, to play the games that you love, to be a part of something new if you've never collected before. And it's a place where so many friendships have been built and so many memories have been made. It's so much more than a sports card and trading card shop, and you can experience the difference, experience the uniqueness, and experience what it's like to be around people that just truly care about their craft and do everything they possibly can to bring something special to the community every single week by going to GG Cards and Breaks today, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank my two absolutely incredible guests here this morning that have been a part of our Bearcat takeover here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we celebrate going into year 3 of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. It is my honor and my privilege to be able to share these specials with you, to have not one but two specials today, including our wonderful conversation with Mikey Squires of Binghamton Wrestling, as well as being able for the first time ever to sit down and speak with the new president of Binghamton University, that being Ann DeLeva. So many thanks to Ann and to Mikey. It is now time to jump into the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. And the topic for today's ingredients to success is, what's in your mind? What is? Think about it today. What's been on your mind? You can just kind of say it out loud to yourself. Let's do a little exercise, right? What's on my mind today? Well, you think about what your plans are, what you got going on. Think about maybe something that was bothering you, something that you didn't understand, something you're really excited about, a new opportunity, right? There's a lot of things that could be on our mind this morning. And what's in that mind of yours, what consumes the space, it consumes you. If I've learned anything in my life, I've learned that what you think about is what you become. If you're constantly worrying and paranoid, that's what you become. If you're constantly excited and happy and grateful, that's what you become. What did Mikey talk about? He said you can't be gracious and anxious at the same time. I thought that was very, very well put. Shows his wisdom and shows that he's beyond his years. You cannot be gracious and anxious at the same time. So what does that mean? Think about it. When you're grateful for what you have in your life, when you focus on being thankful, when you're like, hey, God, I'm just happy to be here. Happy to have my life. I'm happy that I have my health. I'm happy that I can eat what I want, do what I want. My legs work, my arms work, my brain works, my heart's working. Gratefulness. I got friends that love me for who I am. that don't try to change me, that appreciate me, that value me. I have companies that I work with that constantly challenge me in a good way, and they're good to me, and they're positive with me, and they care about me, and they value me. They see value in what I do for them and who I am as a person. I have parents that are alive that love to talk with me and spend time together and just make new memories. I have a dog that has given me that opportunity to really feel like I'm a father. You know, my whole life I was like, I want to have a kid. You know, and you grow up thinking, okay, that's a human being, right? I'm a human being. And then I have Lily, and the way she loves me, the way she is with me, the way she treats me. How can I not feel like a really proud and grateful father? And just a dad that's happy to have a soul that is so sweet and is so kind. You know? So, when you have gratefulness, when I think about, I just went to Disney with my mom. Or I just went to Disney, got to ride my favorite ride, brought my mom to my probably arguably one of my favorite Disney restaurants. And I got to go to Universal Studios with my mom for the first time since I was like 7. You know, I got to ride the rides I wanted to ride. Everything worked out. Even the things that were annoying flipped to positive, right? The frown upside down. The things that were frustrating and not really fair going into the park ended up being righted going out of the park. And so everything was great. And then the things that were a little annoying or frustrating, they ended up being great before I left. So there's not a bad thing that I have to say about it. And I mean, when you start filling your mind with all that stuff, I'm like, man, those are like 20 things to be grateful for. And I didn't even name the fact that we're in year 3 with Binghamton. I'm grateful for that. Where, you know, we just brought on Willow Rock to the family. We're doing our first show on Thursday. We had an amazing show with boys swimming and diving last night at the Wildcat. There was an awesome amount of support, ton of people that showed up. Just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful event. And I had a lot of fun with the kids and with Coach and, you know, just with everybody. It was just a night of gratefulness and thankfulness and positivity. You know, I have so many things to be grateful for. And, you know, when you start focusing on that, you don't really care about the drama and about the frustrations and about the people that may not appreciate you or understand you or value you or treat you the way you want to be treated. I mean, that's going to happen. You know, we're going to have those moments. We're going to have moments where we just don't like something or it didn't go the way we had planned. And that's okay. You know, God has always given me something to look forward to. Even when I want something really bad and I think it's good for me and it doesn't end up being, the next thing, it's like, hey, I know you're focused on this and I know you want this and I know you care about this, but whether it works out or not, look at what's coming up. Look at what I have. And, you know, I've really thought about this throughout my life because stress is something, man. It's a beast and it's mean and it's heartless. And if you let it in, it's like this elusive cloud that you can't like catch. And you can't let it in. I mean, I know people get stressed out. I know times get tough. None of us are perfect. But you really got to try to keep the stress out. And you really got to stay away from people that are just not good for you. And it's hard because when you're somebody like me, you always want to make sure everybody's good, and everybody's happy, and everybody's okay. And you don't always think about yourself. And then when you take a step back and you're like, mate, am I happy? Do I like this? Is this good for me? You know, it makes you reflect. You know, when you are a person that's constantly wanting to see other people happy and do well, you don't always take that time to reflect and go, am I happy in this? Do I like this? Is this fair? And sometimes it's not. And sometimes it is. And sometimes it's growth. And growth hurts. Growth sucks. Remember when you were growing up as a kid, to my adults out there? You remember how when your body was growing, it hurt. That's why they call it growing pains. It's not just a figurative speech, it's real. So when you're going through a tough time and you're growing and you're frustrated and you don't like it and you're like, man, I hate this and it's awful and it's terrible. I want you to really just remember that when you were a kid, in order to grow, it had to hurt. We can't become a better version of ourselves without a little bit of pain. Growth literally comes with pain when your body grows. So figuratively, get used to it. Right? You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get a little uncomfortable. If you want something good in your life, you're going to have to grow. You know, I read something and I shared it on my story because it just kind of hit me some kind of way. And of course, it's not going to be up here right now. But I put it on my story, and it was this thing about if you want, like, better in your life, like if you want your life to improve, then you're going to have to, you can't do the same things and expect the same results. You know, it was this thing about God will continue to put you through the same lesson until you do something differently, until you learn. And I've talked about this on the show in a lot of different ways that I've said it, but it's true. God will give you the same test over and over again. And if you fail it, you'll continue to take it. If you refuse to take it, you'll continue to have it put in front of you. God does not allow a test to pass you until you've passed the test. I'm going to say that again. God does not allow a test to pass you until you pass the test he sent. You have to pass the test in order for him to let that test go past you. So if you refuse to take it, if God says, hey, it's time to grow, and you run in the other direction, he's going to make you take it again because you didn't take it. If you take it and you fail, he's going to make you take it again. See, here's the thing about God. God does not give participation trophies out and say, oh, I'm just happy that you're here. He wants you to work. He wants you to try. There's no 15th place in God's book. He wants you to come, do the best you can, and if you fail the test, he doesn't pass your grade. If you fail second grade, you don't go to third. That's why this world is so crazy in America now. It's like, what, does everybody pass every test? You know, little Jimmy put 1 + 1 is 2, and little Stacy put 1 + 1 is pickle, and they both went to the third grade. Well, I'm sorry, little Stacy, but 1 + 1 isn't pickle, and if we don't tell you this now, you're going to grow up with a very weird view of life. You know, you don't make Bob the CEO when Bob's sexually harassing people and getting fired, right? From other jobs. You look at Carly and say, okay, Carly, you've done everything you were supposed to do. You went above and beyond, and now you're CEO. Right? I mean, when we look at life, you don't promote bad behavior, and you don't promote people that fail. It's going to take time to get through something. It's going to take time to work through your mind. But if you don't pass the test, you have to take it again. If you don't pass if you run from the test, it will chase you. How do I know this? I've lived it. I did the same thing. There was a part of my life where I kept repeating the same thing. and I kept getting the same result. And that's why when I found that post and it said, hey, if you're in a place where you keep getting tested the same test over and over again, that's because you're not doing anything differently, right? You have to command yourself to be different. If you're a paranoid person, if you're a second-guessing person, if you're not confident, God is going to test you to be confident. And until you show him your confidence consistently, you're going to keep getting the same test. You have to be confident. Well, Dan, what if I don't want to be confident? Why would you not want to be confident? You want to spend the rest of your life scared of your own shadow? See, there's this thing in society we don't do right now, which is called tough love. And sometimes we have to have those conversations. I have to have those conversations with myself. We have to discuss tough love. We have to. Because how are you going to grow? How are you going to learn? How are you going to evolve if you don't have an openness to tough love? It stinks. I get it. It's hard. But tough love is how you grow. When somebody says to you, you know what? You got to stop being so worried. You got to just live. You ever have somebody tell you that? Don't worry. Just go out there and live. If we don't live our lives, if we don't go out there and do the best that we possibly can, we're not failing anybody but ourselves. If you don't go out there and you don't try, yeah, sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's really, really difficult. I understand. I've been there. You and I are both human beings. It's not always easy and fun. But we have to grow. We have to learn. We have to try. And if we don't, we're doomed to fail over and over and over again. And I don't want that for you, and I most certainly don't want it for me either. There's certain things that I've always been able to do. And I can't always describe how. But I've always been able to do it. And there's other things where I've really struggled to do them. And I think every human being has something. They have things they're very, very good at. And they have things that they really, really have to try hard at. Like, I can't read a page of a book really fast. I have to spend time on it. And if there's one part of it I don't understand, I'll read it again. And I will read it for 20 minutes until I feel comfortable to move on to the next page. Some people can read that in 37 seconds. Okay? That's something that they do, and it's something that I take more time with. When I sit in my studio and I have to edit something and I got to do I can do 7 different things at the same time in my studio. Some other people may not be able to do one of those things or understand it. I might teach somebody how to edit. It might take them 6 hours, might take me 12 minutes. But that's something that I can do well, and it's something that somebody else may do well but take a little longer doing. We have to stop saying, like, I'm good at this versus I suck at this, right? And that self-talk, that negative self-talk from somebody who did it for many, many years, you have to change that. Because whatever you tell yourself you are, that's who you are. That's who you become. If you tell yourself you're a low-life good-for-nothing, then you're going to live that way. You're going to live like you have no value. And nobody's going to be able to change your mind on that. And I know that. You know, I've been around people that have horrible self-esteem, and no matter how much you try to build them up, they don't want to get built up. They hate themselves. They dislike it for whatever reason. They've been through something, traumatizing, and it's sad. But at some point in their life, they have to go, you know what? I love me. I'm happy with me. And I do not believe that somebody can love another person if they don't love themselves. I don't believe that. Because you may kind of love somebody, but you can't fully love someone if you don't fully love yourself. You can have pieces, but you don't have all of it. I'm not saying that people that aren't really good to themselves can't show compassion and goodness and positivity and things that look like love. But you can't really genuinely love something if you don't love yourself, because how? If you don't love yourself, you don't know what love is, right? It took me a long time to really genuinely love myself. And so, with other people, I could be good, I could be kind, I could do a lot for them. But, ultimately, when you struggle with loving yourself, you struggle with loving anything. And you have to learn. You have to learn that you're not perfect. And that doesn't mean stop trying. It just means give everything that you can and understand that you might have a day where your mind's racing. You might have a day where, I really miss my grandma. I miss G every day. Every day. But there's some days where I just want to sit and cry. Because, that woman just, man, she can make the whole world feel a heck of a lot better just by sitting with me for a minute. And I can't replace her, and I won't. But things take time in life. And you got to be willing to relax, and you got to be willing to kind of just think it through. I know I'm going to a lot of different places here, but what's in your mind is, you think I have no control over what's in my mind. It just popped in my mind. What can I do, Dan? But it's like, this is your body. You have to tell your mind, I own you. You're mine. You belong to me. I had a friend that took their own life. And I'll never forget what somebody said to me. They said, do you know what suicide is? It's when, instead of you controlling your mind controls you. And that hit me. And I was like, wow. Because when your mind controls you, it's hard to get out from underneath it. And you feel stuck. Kind of feel like you're locked in one place. And it never feels good. So I'll tell you today, think about what's in your mind. Because a lot of times in life, we're battling ourselves and talking our way out of good things. We talk ourselves out of going for jobs that we want. We talk ourselves into settling for people, places, things. When you sit down with someone and you say, where would you love to live? And they tell you, and then you say, where do you live? And they tell you, and it's not even close. You're like, what are you doing? Well, Dan, someday. What if you die today? Why do you think you're going to be alive? Like, I would love to be alive for a very long time. But what if I say to God, hey, I'm 40 years old. I'm going to be alive for the next 60 years. And he goes, you're going to be alive for 12. Okay. I mean, they say that when people have some fear of death, they go to the doctor, you get bad news or something like that. That's when people start living. Why don't you start living today? Why don't you love like you've never been hurt before? Why don't you go after a job like you can get it? Why don't you dance like nobody's watching? I know I'm not telling you something you may not have heard in a song already, but why? Why not? Why not right now you just say to your mind, yeah, I've been hurt, I've been beaten, I've been bruised, I've been bullied, I've been lied to, I've been cheated on, I've been stolen from, I've had my time wasted, I've been through hell. Okay. But what about now? It's one thing to go through hell, it's another thing to sit there. Go through is stating that you were there and you passed through it. Staying in it means that you went there and you sat down. Who sits down in a burning building? You get out of it. Well, Dan, it's hard to get through hell. I know. You're preaching to the choir. I get it. But I got out. And every time the devil tries to throw me back in there, I go, no, thank you, sir. And sometimes it is very difficult to not fall back. But you have to take the tools that you've learned over the years and you have to control your mind. Because what's in your mind today should be, man, I'm happy I'm alive. That should be one. God, thank you for waking me up today. And then, what do you love? What do you care about? Right? The sun's shining, be happy that the sun's shining. Snow's melting, you like that? You had your favorite breakfast. Your son told you that he loves you. Your daughter said, you're an inspiration to me, Dad, Mom. We focus, I don't know what it is about the human brain that it's so easy to focus on the negative and how everything can go wrong, but it's so hard to focus on the positive and what can go right. But we have to rework. Maybe that's God's challenge. Maybe that's the eternal test, right? That our hearts will be strong and connected to God, and our minds will be the things that are detached from God that we have to connect to Him. Maybe that's the ultimate test. Can we link our minds to God? Can we rewire our minds? Did God put us on this earth and say, I'm going to put a computer inside of you. The wires are all messed up. The computer works, but it doesn't work correctly. And you have to figure out how to fix it. It's an interesting way to look at life. Your brain is so powerful, and it can beat you down. Your brain inside of your own body can control you, or you can control it. So when good things happen in your life, enjoy them. We spend so much time waiting, praying, wishing, hoping for something good. And then when it happens, we're like, oh man, I don't want to lose it. I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Oh my God. Oh my. Why not just be happy? Right? If I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to go to Disney. I can't wait to go to Disney. I want to go to Disney. I'm so excited to go to Disney. And then I get to Disney. I'm like, as soon as I land, I'm like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I got to leave in 5 days. I got to leave in 5. If I think about that the whole time, the trip's going to fly by me and I'm not going to enjoy it. I waited 300 days to get there, and now I'm going to spend the 5 days that I'm there worried about when I have to leave? Live in the moment. And what the hell was I doing for those 300 days that I was so excited to go to Disney? Did I enjoy anything else? If we spend our whole lives looking backward and looking forward, what the hell are we looking at? If everything's about our future and everything that we're fearing is from our past, how are we living right now? Right in this moment. This moment that's never going to come around again. Ever. I'm never going to be in my 30s again. And I had to come to terms with that when I turned 40. Do I feel 40? I don't know what the hell 40 is supposed to feel like, but I feel good. I feel like God loves me and I love God and my life is awesome and I feel alive. I don't give a blank about what my age is. But, if we spend most of our time worried about the future, upset about the past, when in the hell are we going to live? And I'm going to tell you something. If you worry about the past in the present will become your past, and it will only add worry to your timeline. If you worry about the future, your present will become your future, and you will have only worried about where you're at. See, we want to get to the future to get out of the present because of something we don't like. Or we want to get out of the past, so we run to the present. But are we ever just standing in the room saying, man, I am so happy that I'm not in a wheelchair, right? And not disrespect to anybody that is. I'm just saying, I don't think there's anybody on the planet that's like, yeah, I want to be in a wheelchair. My grandmother was all about taking care of herself. And at 100 years old, she didn't want to be in a wheelchair. She didn't want to have a walker. You know how long it took her to be okay with having a walker? She just wanted to get up and do her own thing. There's nobody that wants to be bedridden. There's nobody that wants to be a vegetable. Things happen in life. And sometimes we end up in a wheelchair. And sometimes we end up in a hospital bed. And sometimes we end up on the ground. But where is your spirit? You know, my friend Jimmer Sikowski, he's a brother to me. And I met him when he was standing up and walking and running around and doing this and doing that and healthy and taking care of himself. And I'd look at him sometimes and I'm like, man, I got to get in the gym, man. I got to run. And now Jimmer's in a chair dealing with ALS. Let me tell you something. That man does more from that chair than some people do running. Some people do walking. Because his mind, however hard it is at times, whatever he goes through, whatever the silent suffering is or the public suffering is, that man, he has God. He is grateful. And he challenges me every day to stop complaining and live. Yeah, you might lose something that you build. Oh well, build again. You might not understand why life is the way it is with you, but keep living. That's where we're at. That's where we're at, folks. We're here. We're in this moment. Are you here with me? Can you feel this moment? Can you live this moment? How often do they say that a person on their hospital bed, that's when they finally apologize? That's when they finally smile. That's when they finally understand the meaning of life. That's when they finally want to make amends and make things right. That's when they're like, I should have went on this trip and I should have taken this job and I should have married that girl and I should have said this to that guy. That's when all that stuff happens, is when you're about to leave. But you're here right now. So what are you going to do about it? I'm talking to myself and I'm talking to you. What are you going to do about this moment? You got something good in your life, you lock in. You hold on. You're working towards something good in your life, you lock in. You hold on. You know how much I love my job, how much I appreciate what I do. So when I'm tired, when I have that moment where I want to just sit and do nothing, lock in. Lock in. Not saying don't relax, not saying don't take a minute, not saying don't take a breath, but lock in. When you know there's something you got to do, lock in. When I tell God, thank you for letting me do what I do, I am so excited to go and chase my dreams. I'm so excited for that. I know what I want in my life. I know what I yearn for. And sometimes I have those things, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I've never had them. But what I do have, I'm a kid. I'm going to live the rest of my life as a big kid. I'm going to live the rest of my life enjoying what I do for a living. Because I'm never going to let go. Unless God tells me, throw it all in the trash and go do something else, I'm here. And whatever he tells me to do, I'm going to rock that too. This is what I get to do. This is what I love to do. I get paid to travel the world, meet people, talk to them, smile with them, laugh with them, cry with them, and let them know that they matter. My life is engaging with people in a positive, consistent, loving, faithful, and caring way. That's my job. I get to bring God to your doorstep. And maybe you want him, and maybe you don't, but I'm going to bring him. And if you hate me for it, there's worse things to be hated for. And I just think about growing up as a kid, and I'm like, man, there's certain memories I can go right back to and I can live in, but I had to chase out other ones so that I could clear space. Your brain only has so much space. It's like a computer. It only has so much memory space. And so you got to take stuff out. If you're remembering all the bad stuff, you don't have any room for the good stuff. You know, I have a great life. And see, one of my biggest issues is when something's wrong over here, I struggle to appreciate what's over here, right? This is really frustrating me. I can't believe this happened. So now I'm not really enjoying this other thing that's very good in my life. And that's been a challenge for me to say, okay, I know this is on your mind, but you're here right now and you're doing this. Live in the moment, right? Man, I'm really frustrated and I really want this thing to work and I'm working on this with my business, but you're at lunch with your mom right now. And I know you're frustrated about this and I know you don't understand this and you don't really know where to take it, but you're at lunch with your mom right now. So just be happy, because you don't want to be the guy that years down the road is sitting across from an empty seat, wishing his mom was there, thinking how stupid you were to spend all of those lunches thinking about this and thinking about that and worrying about this and worrying about that, instead of just saying, you know what, this sucks, that's fine, but off to the side, here's my mom, love you, mom, appreciate you, you're the best. And then, deal with the issue after. Issues are going to come up, things are going to arise, but don't screw up your life and the good things you got for the things that annoy you. Don't let one problem become a virus. I'm a culprit of that. I got one thing that's going wrong, 72 things going right, and I'm just sitting there harping on the thing that's going wrong, which starts to affect the other things going right. Don't do that. Your mind is such a beautiful and dangerous place, and you have to choose which one. Are you grateful? Or are you anxious? Now, everybody's anxious these days. Everybody's got ADD and ADHD, and listen, some people may have it, but we don't all have it. And, I feel like we're a pill popping society, man. We are, let's take a pill for this. Let's buy a book for this. Instead of just saying, how about we pray to God? How about we get down on our knees? How about we meditate? How about we work through it? I'm a natural guy. When I go to the doctor and they're like, hey, we can inject your knee with a cortisone shot, or you can go to physical therapy, it's always physical therapy. Send me to PT, because that gives me an opportunity to heal my body instead of injecting me with some substance that, what am I getting? Once it's there, I'm going to need it for the rest of my life. What if I have a bad reaction to it? What if I can't get better without it? So now I'm going to have to inject my knee for the next 60 years? No, thank you. Let me go to physical therapy. Let me work on my body. We have to stop. There are so many diseases right now. You watch commercials on television, half the stuff sounds made up. And I'm sitting here going like, when did that ever exist? When was that ever a thing? But it's take this, and then you take the pill and it's got a side effect. So then you got to take another pill for the side effect, but then that side effect counteracts the first pill's ability to do its job. So now the 3 pills that you're taking are not helping you because they're all working against each other. And now you have all these side effects that are really bad. And now, I mean, think about it. They're like, hey, do you have migraines? You can take this pill that'll give you suicidal thoughts. How the hell does a pill control the thoughts of my brain? That's horrifying. That sounds like something out of some scary movie. You could put a substance inside of me that's going to distort my mind and make me hate myself and want to jump off a bridge, like, because I have a headache, because I have a stomach ache. I mean, we're a society that's gotten lost in these quick fix things. I need a pill for everything. I need to have a life coach for everything. It's like, just take the onus upon yourself. Because at the end of the day, no matter how many pills you take or how many people talk to you, or, I mean, therapy is a very positive way to deal with life. A therapist will tell you, no matter how much I give you, you have to eventually either take it or don't take it. You know, I feel like we've become an individualistic, selfish society, while at the same time, ironically, becoming a society that doesn't put the onus on themselves. So we're selfish, but we also don't take the responsibility of our life. So we think of ourselves, but we don't do the work to take care of ourselves. That it's just weird to me. We're me-centric, but we don't work on ourselves to get better. We expect everybody else to do it for us. And that's not how life works. Yes, you will have friends and family and loved ones and spouses and girlfriends and boyfriends and significant others and whatever. You will have mentors, total strangers that'll come into your life and will give you great advice. But what if you don't take it? Or what if you take bad advice? You know, not everybody that's older than you is smarter than you. Not everybody that has a bunch of degrees is smarter than you. Sometimes a 14-year-old will cross paths with you and say something to you that's smarter, better, and more wisdom fed than anything you've ever told yourself. Are you going to sit there as a 27-year-old and go, well, I'm not going to listen as a 14-year-old? Or are you going to go, wow, that's better advice than I've ever heard? We have to take a hold of our life. It's as simple as that. It's hard to do. It's easy to say, but it's tough love. I'm tough loving you today. I'm tough loving me today. Because what you think about, what you put on your mind, what you focus on, that's what it becomes. If you tell yourself a good thing is a bad thing, it will become a bad thing. If you tell yourself a bad thing is a good thing, I don't think it works that same way. Well, you know, if you say, oh, murder's good, I don't think it becomes a good thing. But, I mean, what I'm saying is you can distort your own reality. You can make bad look good and good look bad in your mind. You think a serial killer thinks they're doing bad things? Or do you think that they've justified it? So, I mean, how we are in life, how we live, how we choose to act, everything that you're doing and saying can have an effect on where you go from here. And you have to be cognizant of that. You have to know that that's real life. How you decide to live and how you decide to think could affect everything that comes from here. And I want the best for you. And I want the best for me too. So, what are we going to do from here? Are we going to think about our past to be like, oh man, all these bad things happen and they're only going to keep happening? I'm going to tell you this. I was a person that took all of the baggage of things that happened to me into the next thing. And all of the things ended similarly. Because a bad thing happened and I brought it in and I put the stress on and a bad thing happened and I put the stress on and a bad thing happened and I put the stress on and a bad thing happened. And then it's like, okay, well, what if you don't put the stress on? Bad things could still happen, but what if you take what you've been doing out of the equation? What if you're just positive? What if you're just happy to be there? You know, I want to be a movie star. I get on a set, I had 5 bad experiences. Well, I'm going to have a bad experience here. I know I'm going to have, and then you will. You got to walk onto the movie set like, this is the 6th set I've been on. The first 5 weren't great, but this is a different set. I don't care who shows up. Just be you. You know, it's a cold and lonely place sometimes in your mind, but you're the only one that can dig your way out. Therapists can give you advice, but they can't make you change. Family, loved ones can give you advice, but they're not going to make you change. They can't. I know for a fact that you can only change if you want to. You can only get better if you want to. And it's up to you. Because I'll tell you this right now. The job you want, the place you want to live, the person you want to be with, the things you want to do, none of that stuff's going to happen if you're negative. It's not going to happen. You think if I was negative about my company and down-talking myself and telling myself I suck and I'm terrible and I'm never going to make it, you think I'd be here right now? I believed in myself when there were times where I thought nobody believed in me. I thought it was God and I and maybe a few people, and even some of the people that I love dearly were skeptical of why would you put yourself in this profession? And I was like, because I never got in the profession because of other people in it. I got in the profession because I wanted to be in it. I don't care what they're doing. That's inconsequential to me. Whatever they define something as, why can't I define it as something different? I'll tell you this right now. Most journalists, they see journalism far differently than I do. Theft and plagiarism is a normal thing for them. It ain't normal for me. I've never done it, and I'm never going to. Because I can't sleep at night if I do something like that. I got a God that I answer to. You may not think you do, but you do. And, I mean, I think today when you're kind of sitting in some time by yourself, and maybe that's in the shower, right? Maybe that's driving in the car. Maybe that's at the gym. Maybe it's on a run. You know, maybe it's sleeping, you know, before you go to bed or something like that. But when you have some time to yourself today, and if you tell me you don't have any time, you're going to have to make time. I understand. We have kids, we have jobs, we have this, we have that. I understand we have parents. When you have some time to yourself today, in that quietness, I want you to be honest with yourself about your thoughts. What are you thinking about? Like, what are the topics, right? What are you thinking about? And then are those thoughts positive or negative? Because we got to spend time on what we're thinking about, what we're focusing on, and then we have to determine if we have positivity that we're feeding those topics or if we have negativity that we're feeding those topics. Because you can walk your way out of the best things in your life, and you can walk your way into the worst things in your life. I've walked myself into bear traps, so when people go, why would you do that? I'm like, in the moment, I made myself go there. And then somebody would say, why would you do this to a positive thing? It's like, well, because I let this happen and I let myself get bothered by that. There's not a person on this planet that hasn't fumbled the ball or will fumble the ball because of what they're thinking or how they're thinking. But the question is, after you fumble it, will you go pick it up? Do you leave it on the ground? Do you allow it to be a turnover? Or do you jump on top of it, get after it, and keep moving forward? We're all going to fumble. But after you fumble, do you sit and cry? After you fumble, do you lay down, admit defeat, or do you jump on the football? You don't know what's going to happen when you jump on the football. It could still pop out, but I believe that the God that loves us is concerned with not only what we do first, but what we do after that thing works out or doesn't work out. I think God is always looking at us saying, okay, yeah, you might have fumbled, but what are you going to do after? You know, I'm sitting here in the studio and I'm thinking to myself this morning, I'm like, man, I've talked my way out of a mountain of things that used to bother my mind. But I still have, you know, kind of like pieces of asbestos or dust that fly by, and you're like, I still got to get rid of that. And I don't know where you're at in your life, and there's no right or wrong. You know, Dan, you feel like you got through a mountain. I still got a mountain of stuff to go through. Okay, well, you can only get through the mountain by taking piece by piece. Right? So let's work on the mountain today. Let's get a rock out of your brain. Let's get a second rock tomorrow. And before you know it, the pile's going to be gone. But what we do a lot is we let things go awry in the wrong direction, and then we look at it and we're like, oh my God, that pile's so big. How am I going to get through it? Right? The laundry gets so high, you're like, why even do it? Because it's going to take me 3 days to do this laundry. But you let it get that high, number one, right? That's the responsibility of you talking to yourself, and you have to admit that to yourself. I let the laundry get too high. And then when you start working through it, I start feeling better. There's some positivity now because you see that the laundry pile is getting smaller. Then all of a sudden, the laundry pile's gone, and then you're like, what the hell was I complaining about? That didn't take me as long as I thought it was going to take, or whatever. Maybe it did take you as long as you thought, but now it's done. You know, the longer you take to quiet your mind and fix bad habits, the harder it's going to be to work through it. The longer you take, like if you're going 30 years in the wrong direction, you can't expect to be fine in a day. It's going to take time for you. But do you want to go 31 years in the wrong direction, or do you want to start turning in the right direction? See, again, you think you're going to be alive until you're like 1,000 years old. We have to start living like you could die at... Jesus died at 33 years old. Do people even talk about that? He was like basically a kid still. And look at what he accomplished. So, well, Dan, you're talking about perfection versus me. I'm not perfect. No, you're not perfect. But I'm saying, Jesus didn't live to be 150. Yes, he rose from the dead and he's eternal. But he was given 33 years on this planet as a human being to live his life. We don't know how much time we got. But we know we have right now. And I don't know what my mind's going to be when I'm 80. I hope it'll be strong. But it's strong right now. And I don't know what my body's going to be like when I'm 90. But my body's strong right now. And I don't know what the world of sports is going to look like in 50 years. But I know what it looks like right now. And I don't know what's going to happen with this, that, and the third. But I know who's here right now. You know? If you would have told me that my best friend of 12 years was going to disappear and never be a part of my life again, I wouldn't have believed you. But I don't miss him anymore. I love him. I remember the good things. I hope the best for him. But I don't miss him anymore because he didn't want to be here. And that's okay. And then somebody that I never thought I would call a best friend because I didn't even know the person, easily is the person that I confide in the most. So we don't know where life is going to take us, but if I held on to everything that went wrong with that one friend, I wouldn't have any new ones. I couldn't trust the person I thought I could trust. And if I stayed in that, I wouldn't have the relationships I have today. We can't be who we We can't be a better version of ourselves if we keep feeling bad for what we've been through. I'm not saying you're not allowed to hurt. I'm not saying it's fair. And I'm not saying the person that hurt you is like awesome and great. I'm telling you, the more you sit and sulk in the crap, the more crappy your life stays. Because listen, you're going to get punched in the face, and so am I. But what are we going to do about it? How are we going to live? You know how many things... There's been things that have happened to me in these last few months that I can't describe. I did nothing to earn or deserve, but they happened. And in the moment of them happening, I was like, man, this sucks. But the growth and the knowledge and the wisdom of me was like, you've been here before. You've had people disrespect you before. You've had people not appreciate your work before. You've had people overlook you before. So don't sit here crying about it. It sucks. It's not great. But you know what? No matter how much you think about it, talk about it, worry about it, cry about it, it's not going to change. All you can do is keep being you. And they're going to see that. And they might see it and be like, oh man, I made a mistake. Or they might see it and not care. But it don't matter. Because you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But to somebody, you might be the only cup they want. And I'm not put on this earth to make anybody else happy. I want to see people smile. I want to put a smile on your face. But I'm not put on this earth to like, I shouldn't even say that. I'm not put on this earth to make anybody like me. Right? Jesus wasn't walking around saying, do you like me? Jesus was like, I'm going to keep doing me even though you hate me. So I want you to really think about your life today. I want you to think about what matters. And I know I've been talking for a while on this topic, but I can't help myself. It's kind of like there's so many places I can go, and because our mind wanders. And you could have nothing happen. You could be in a great situation in your life, work, romantic, personal, friendship, whatever. You could be in a great position in your life, and then you can get worried about it. Right? Like you could be in this job and you're killing it. You're doing great. First 3 weeks are great. First 3 months are great. 5 months are great. 7 months are great. And then all of a sudden you wake up on 7th month and 1 day and you start worrying, second guessing yourself. How did I? And you forget how you got here, how you did everything. And now you're so worried. Now you're like, oh, I have to succeed. I have to succeed. But your success came from 7 months of not telling yourself you have to succeed. You were just being you. See, we fumble the ball because when you get out there on the field and you trust yourself and you're like, I practice, I watch film, I lifted, I ran, I love this sport, I know what I'm doing, I prayed to God this morning, I got this. And you go out and you got 12 touchdowns. And then here comes week 11 and you get under center and you're like, oh my gosh, am I a good running back? Do people like me? Do my teammates like me? Am I going to do good things? Do the fans like me? Are they going to support me? Am I going to get a new contract? And then you fumble. Overthinking kills a lot. Worrying kills a lot. It's the devil. Fear is the devil's lie. Did you know that? Fear is the devil's lie. That's why fear will never take hold of me. Because I'm not trying to be with the devil. Fear is the devil's lie. Do you know that? Fear is a last-ditch effort to keep you from the blessings that God has for you. Fear is something that we create to, it's our own quicksand. We hold ourselves down in fear. We suffocate ourselves by fear. We prevent ourselves from breaking our own arbitrary rules because of fear. You think I would be anywhere in my life right now if I was afraid? Everybody and their mother's got a podcast now, but when I did it, people were like, what the hell is that? I wasn't afraid. Living with my grandmother, she could have passed away. She could have, had a rough time. She could have been mean. She could have been this. She could have been that. I could have seen her go through different stuff that I didn't remember her for because she had a late form of dementia. But I wasn't afraid. It's my grandma. I love her. I wanted to take care of her because she's the best human being that I've ever met. It's a privilege to take care of the good ones, the great ones. And so I wasn't afraid. I didn't wake up every day going, oh, what if she died today? I barely ever thought about that. I just thought, I get to spend more time with my grandma than I thought I was gonna. Right? I never thought I was gonna live with her. Be her main caregiver for a long time. I never thought that. But I was, and I did. And it was great, and I wouldn't change it. Probably would have spent one more day there. So, fear is what the devil does to keep you from the blessings. If you picture God around a corner holding a gift, the devil always stands in front of him. And the devil says, you don't want to go around me. You don't want to see what's behind me. What's behind me will scare you. Because the devil knows that what's behind him is good for you. But he wants to keep you off the ball. He wants you to fumble. I'll never forget the analogy that God put in my head. At the end of one year, I was working on my business, and I was like, I have one client. These other clients are going away. I have one client. How am I going to do this? God multiplied my money by 10. Like that. I still, to this day, am like, how the heck did that happen? But that's love. He knew my heart. He knew why I was doing what I was doing. If I was doing things wrong, I probably wouldn't have made the money. Probably wouldn't have found a way. But I was like, hey, God, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to give it up to you. I'm going to work my tail off. I'm going to chase my dreams. I'm going to give it all up to you and all credit and all glory to you. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to stay humble. I'm not going to have an ego. I'm going to be led by you. And I'm going to chase my dreams and believe in you and love you and believe in myself. And that's all I did. And he was like, I got this. I got you. You're going to be fine. And he's always done that for me. When people say, why do you believe in God? I'm like, because what type of disrespectful human being? So I'm going to say for the last 40 years of every example I have that God exists, I'm going to say he doesn't because you don't believe in him. If you don't believe in him, that's your own deal. But if you're around me, you're going to see him. Because I don't hide him. And I'm telling you this right now. When you're afraid, that is the devil standing in front of God who's trying to give you a gift. And if you looked around the devil, you would see that God is sitting there with a smile on his face saying, come to me, my child. I want to give you, I have you. And I'm not talking about materialistic stuff. I'm saying God is literally looking at you saying, my son, my daughter, come to me and I will give you rest. Once you look around the devil disappears. We think the devil has all this power. He has nothing if we don't give it to him. He has nothing unless you give it. So stop acting like fear's got control, devil's got control, demons got control, bad's got control. You give control. Don't give it. Your mind is your place, not the devil's place, not a demon's place, not evil's place. Your devil. You're being a devil to yourself. Your mind is your home. And you choose who you welcome into your house. You know when people say, don't let someone be able to rent a loft apartment in your brain for free, right? When someone says, I'm living in your brain for free, do you know what that person's saying to you? They're saying to you, I am terrorizing you and you let me. That's what the devil says. That's what an evil person says. When they say, I'm living in your brain rent free, they're telling you, you let me in there to your safe space and you let me make it chaotic. We are a result of what we decide to be a result of. Yes, we've all been through it. Okay? And we respond to life sometimes based on what's happened to us. But I'll tell you this right now. The best way to respond to life is if you've never been hurt before. It doesn't mean don't learn the lesson. It doesn't mean don't take the knowledge and the wisdom. I'm saying take everything from the bad, but don't take the bad. Take all the good stuff. Take all the learning from the bad, but don't take the bad, right? You had someone cheat on you. Learn from all of that. See the signs. Realize the things. Know when God was speaking to you. Gain the knowledge. Gain the wisdom. Gain the experience. But don't take the sin and don't take the negativity and don't take the weight and tie it around your leg that's going to make you fall to the bottom of the ocean. Right? Take the bad out of the bad experience and just take the experience. And live your life knowing that God loves you and your mind is your responsibility. So take care of it. I love you all. And I mean that. Because you're all children of God and so am I. So, if nobody said they love you today, know that God loves you and know that I love you. And how can I love a stranger? You were made in the image and likeness of God. You have value. And who am I if I don't want to see somebody else succeed? So God bless you all. We'll take our final step aside and we'll wrap things up right after this inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us.
New York, great cars, great people, Great Lakes. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? Head over to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt today and get your awesome Chick-fil-A favorites from the largest Chick-fil-A I've ever seen in my life in any state, anywhere in America. This giant brick building is unmissable. So make sure you head over there today to the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Double drive-through, plenty of dining room space, and of course you can order on the app, and you can also look to have catering and fundraising from Chick-fil-A on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. You can find out more by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and clicking on the Chick-fil-A Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard logo. Make sure you head over there and support Megan Sorber and her team. Of course, she has hired all of our wonderful young people here in our society and people of all ages at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. And why do I mention the young people? Because Megan Sorber's story is that when she was in college, she was obviously learning, growing, and working at Chick-fil-A. And now she is an owner-operator who is hiring people that are learning and growing, going to school and working at Chick-fil-A. And so who better to lead you than someone that's been down that path and has a similar story? Head over to Chick-fil-A on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard and have that similar story of so many people, which is going through the drive-thru, going inside, ordering on the app, having catering and fundraising from a place that truly cares, truly values customer service, guest service, and of course, has a wonderful product. We'll see you at Chick-fil-A DeWitt today. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, I appreciate you being here, hanging out with me inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Make sure you head out there for sales and service Monday through Saturday. Get your new vehicle or used vehicle at Great Lakes Honda City and get a sneak peek
by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Thanks for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So appreciate y'all so very much for that. And of course for being with us on Amazon Music, Audible, as well as iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure you also go to your Alexa and Google devices and ask them to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. Big time shout out to all of our wonderful companies that we work with. We appreciate your support of our Central and Upstate New York partners, to everybody watching and listening, and those being Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, as well as Myers Creek, with their 2 locations, 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia on the countryside, and in the Syracuse Inner Harbor on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicolli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Game Point Sports Complex, Bryan's Landing, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Mother's Cupboard, Willow Rock Pizza Pub, that is in Cicero on 6200 South Bay Road in Cicero, New York, our newest partner. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. You'll find the Bearcats every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in what we call Bearcat Time. We're here with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni all throughout the year. And as we officially head into year 3, which kicked off this week with the Binghamton University Bearcats, I'm happy that we promised you one special, but why not kick off year 3 with a bonus in having not only our Bearcat Breakroom with Mikey Squires of Binghamton Wrestling, but to have a special feature presentation with the leader of the entire university at Binghamton, that being Ann DeLeva. And happy to have Ann on the broadcast, as well as Mikey and everyone that we've had here on Wake Up Call. You could find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the list of topics and guests for the day. Big time shout out to Mikey Squires, to Ann DeLeva, and of course to Avicolli's for the ingredients to success, with today's topic being what's in your mind and what's on your mind. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank West Genesee for an awesome event with boys swimming and diving last night at the Wildcat Sports Pub. And I want to shout out the West Genesee Wildcats hockey team that was with me just a short time ago at the Wildcat Sports Pub as well, for being Section 3 Division I champs once again on to states. God bless to Frank Calabufo and the entire team, and God bless to all of you wonderful people here in Central and Upstate New York and beyond, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. Thank you for making everything that I do here on Wake Up Call and with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media a place that you want to go to, that you feel safe going to, that you have fun, you laugh, and you appreciate. We've had people with us locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. And I thank God for helping to write my story better than I could have ever written it. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call_DT. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say God bless, no stress, do your best. You have yourself a wonderful day. And remember, you control your mind. You matter. I send you my love. God loves you dearly. And you are absolutely, positively worth it, special, and you matter.